Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick. We got Harrison with us tonight. How are we doing, bud?
Good. How we doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Sean is doing adult stuff again, so hopefully he'll join us next week. We possibly have an exciting show next week as well. Might have a special guest on, but we'll get to that in a little bit. All right. Before we get started, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also subscribe and listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, and don't forget to jump on our Facebook page. Don't miss that reel that is still going viral weeks later.
I can't believe that thing is still going.
It's amazing.
We're still getting comments on that thing. It's crazy. All right. Leading off tonight, if you have not seen the Stephen Strasburg drama unfolding, it's both sad, it's infuriating. I don't really know what to think of it. But, I mean, we all know that Stephen Strasburg suffered severe nerve damage in his right pitching arm. He's been on the shelf since June of 2022, I believe.
Yep.
And then he made his announcement that he was going to retire. And the Nationals were going to have a whole retirement ceremony for him in September. And come to find out, this information wasn't supposed to be public. Supposedly, this is what the owner's coming out and saying.
Yep. That
the information was not supposed to be public, and somehow the public found out about these private discussions, and they canceled Stephen Strasburg's retirement ceremony, and legit leaves it with this: "It is our hope that ongoing conversations remain private out of respect for the individuals involved. Until then, we look forward to seeing Stephen when we report to spring training." Are you freaking kidding me? This dude legit probably sacrificed his career to get you a World Series ring, and this is how you're treating the guy? I don't know all the details behind it, but this is an absolute travesty on the part of the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, it's embarrassing on a couple of fronts. One, they canceled an event that supposedly was private and supposedly was never even scheduled, but they did officially cancel it. So you officially canceled an event that wasn't scheduled from your private discussions, which makes no sense, first of all. And then secondly, in all this, you make this seem like you're telling Stephen, well, you put up or shut up, because you're not retiring. We're not gonna go along with this game. You're going to show up. And the guy, I mean, there was talk earlier this year, because he's going to hit the pension level here with MLB. He's going to retire at the end of this year anyways, because it made sense for him to finally just go out. All indications are he can't pitch. He'll probably never throw a baseball again, period. And he's probably never going to have full function of his right arm ever again. He's not showing up to spring training. So that comment it's just kind of a callous remark to make to a guy who literally gave you everything he had. But the flip side of it is, it also shows you the problem with the Nationals and the ownership group, the Lerners.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's got $110 million still owed to him on a contract that is not insured. Now, I've not seen whether it's not insured because they chose to not insure it or because they couldn't get insurance for it because of the injury history. You gave the guy a boatload of money and you didn't insure it. This is what happens. This is the unfortunate side effect of not insuring these contracts, is when a guy gets hurt and his career ends early, you still got to pay him.
Yeah, and my issue is he got hurt on your dime. He was pitching for the Washington Nationals when he got hurt. So the team should be on the hook for it. If he got hurt in the WBC or, Winter League or whatever league he would play in that's not the MLB, then yeah, I would fight it and be like, yeah, dude, we're not, sure, we're not owing you that money. This dude legit put the Nationals on his back. Yes, with help from Soto and Rendon, but put him on their back, wins a World Series MVP, and literally pitches till his arm falls off. How many times has a coach told you that in Little League or high school? Dude, I'm putting you out there and you're going to pitch until your arm fell off. His legit did.
Basically
and you don't want to pay him for it. It's just, I shouldn't be as mad as I am about it. But it's just not right. It's not okay.
No, and I'm finding here from the Washington Post back in 2019, that the Nationals didn't take out the disability insurance on his contract because the premiums would have been extremely high, even if the club and the company could have agreed on a policy given Strasburg's age and injury history. So it sounds like
They couldn't get it.
gotten insurance, maybe. It would have been super expensive, so they opted to just not go down that road. So that's the risk you take. It's just like when you don't have automobile insurance and you go wreck your car. Well, that's the risk you take when you play that game. So they and it's sad to see them treat a guy, and I get it. Like, he got hurt, that's going to be one of the worst contracts in MLB history because you got absolutely nothing for it. Got it. But you did hang a banner when the guy was there, and that was kind of like a reward for that. So yeah, it cost you a little bit of money. But I think the other problem in all this, and we talked about this at the beginning of the year, the Nationals owe so much dead money to players that aren't there anymore that they were teetering on the edge of bankruptcy to start this season.
Right.
This might actually be what kills this organization and forces the learners to have to sell, is that I don't think they can afford to pay them.
Yeah.
So unless they renegotiate this contract and pay it out over a boatload of years, this might be, kind of what undoes that ownership group.
Yeah. Doug says here, no lie, that's very much like the military. We're going to cancel the event that never existed in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much what the Nationals are saying. They're like, it's...
Yeah. Yeah, they're canceling an event that, according to them, was never technically scheduled because it was all part of private conversations. But either way, it's a shame to see Stephen Strasburg's career come to an end like this, when really there should have been an event. He should have been brought back. He should have had his moment. They should have honored him, and then should have set him off in the sunset.
And I'm sure they're still going to. Once this gets all ironed out, I mean, he sure deserves to get his number retired there.
But if you're Stephen Strasburg, are you going to come back for another one of these?
I don't know what's happening behind closed door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like from the outside, this looks messy as hell.
It does, and it doesn't look like it's good. Strasburg.
No.
Doug. Yeah. If they extend his contract, he might be Bonilla 2.0. They'll have to pay him $110 million is going to take a long time to whittle away.
For sure. And that might be the only way they get it restructured so they can pay him out. And if I'm Strasburg, like, why not?
Yeah, pay me $5 million a year for the next 20, what is it, 22 years? Sure, I don't care.
Yeah.
He's 35 years old.
Right. And he's hanging them up early. But yeah, I think he does deserve to get honored by the Nationals. And I mean, number retired, sure, why not? I mean, he pitched his ass off for that organization. I mean, his number is 37, whatever, hanging in the rafters.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. I just don't like the road the Nationals are going down with him, pretty much since the World Series. I mean, they just haven't really been able to get their shit together, for lack of better word, since
he deserves better. This organization is a mess. They're, in terms of baseball, they're on the right track. They're young, they're getting better, but organizationally, they're still a hot mess. This never should have gotten out like it did. It never should have been canceled like it was. They shouldn't have aired their dirty laundry like they did. They shouldn't have made the comment him coming back to spring training. Like, there's so many things that went wrong here. But I do hope they come to some kind of resolution and he does get his moment because he deserves it. However, I would question, if I'm him, do I just tell the organization to shove it and disappear?
Yeah. I think that's the one comment that's really rubbing me the wrong way, is the Nationals didn't have to come out and say, we'll see you in spring training.
He's not going to be there.
That's the biggest slap in the face to anybody. I mean, come on. Be better than that. That's not okay.
It's embarrassing.
That's not all right. All right. Moving on to a couple MLB news is right here off the top. We're going to start with that Yankees and Brewers game yesterday. I know tragedy. A lot of you were probably watching football since it was opening weekend, all that stuff. I had that on in the background, yelling at the New England Patriots because they suck. And then also this Yankees Brewers game. The Brewers had a no-hitter going into the 11th inning. 11th inning, and they lost 4-3. They lost on a walk-off double.
Painful.
It hurts, but that's what we get with the runner on second and extra innings.
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to carry it through 11 innings is pretty remarkable.
Well, it's unreal. But this is the Brewers. Like this is how the Brewers have been for years. They will do weird stuff like this. They'll lose a game 11-9, and then they'll lose a game 1-0. Like you just never know what you're going to get with them.
Yeah. Corbin Burns was lights out. He carried the no-hitter all the way to the 8th inning. Devin Williams pitched in the 9th. I don't know if he came out for the 10th. I was switching back and forth.
Yeah, I can't remember who pitched it. I think Williams only went 1 inning.
It was 4 pitchers that combined for that 11th inning, and then they end up losing 4-3.
Just ugly, very ugly.
Yeah. What was it early in the year? Was it the Pirates that got the no-hitter and lost?
Yes.
Yeah, just it's like kind of that same thing. You threw 11 no-hit innings and lost the ball game. Sorry for you. But
yeah, that's painful.
Yeah. All right. If you haven't seen this story, this is a wild story. Ke'Bryan Hayes for the Pittsburgh Pirates has a 3-1 count, and the pitch is thrown, and it is 6 to 8 inches outside. I mean, this is not even remotely close to the strike zone. Umpire calls a strike. Ke'Bryan Hayes, doesn't say anything to him at the time, but after the game, as the umpires are walking off the field, he went up to the umpire to hold him accountable for that call, and he said something to the effect of, like, hey, like that wasn't a strike, and the umpire gives a shrug and says, I gave you a chance to hit a home run. And Ke'Bryan Hayes just absolutely, like, it's just not the right thing to say. And he just says, that tells me you don't care at all about the game and the integrity of the game. I want the ABS now. And he is calling for it. I mean, he is tagging MLB in these posts. He is ready. He said there's no accountability for these umpires. And that is not a professional thing to say to a professional hitter in that time, in that moment.
Yeah, I put a link in the chat to an article. It's actually got a big picture of the bad strike call. I mean, it's not even close. It's like a good solid 6 inches off the plate. Not borderline, not like he just missed it, like way off. Yeah. But this is the frustration we've seen with a lot of players. I remember Kyle Schwarber when he lost his mind in that one game, screaming at the umpires and both sides are mad, and he had the whole like animated thing. I think MLB has done some good things. They have the umpire scorecards and all the stuff that comes out, but they do nothing with it. Like MLB doesn't actually have the power to change the problem. That is why Angel Hernandez and CB Buckner are still in the field. They are horrendous. They have no business being on a Major League Baseball field as umpires, but they're still there because they can't do anything about it. And I think the players are finally saying, look, guys, enough's enough. If you're not going to fix it, we're going to demand you fix it because we're not going to keep playing this way. And literally, these ABS systems, Ke'Bryan Hayes could have gone tap, tap, tap on his helmet. 5 seconds later, there's a ruling. Ball 4, he walks. Game continues. Instead, you got this nasty situation. He gets hosed. It alters the outcome of the game. The umpire kind of makes some flip comment because, of course, you can't hurt me, so I don't care. And you get this kind of situation when literally the ABS could have solved it all.
Yeah, it's not even a 5-second appeal process. If you've seen it in the minors, there is a viral clip that's going around where a batter literally doesn't even look at the umpire. He just hits his helmet like 3 times. Umpire turns and looks, and then comes back and says strike.
Yeah,
like
it's amazing.
That's it. It's literally 2 seconds.
It's amazing, and
it
doesn't change the flow of the game. Doesn't affect anything.
Nope.
And they can't abuse it. They can't do it like every single pitch.
Right.
But like situations like that, man, it'd be nice to have that. Because this call is horrendous.
And there's been some really, really bad ones. There was another viral clip that I was watching. It was like the top 10 worst calls of the year. And it was by distance. It was by distance from the zone. And like
there's some really bad ones.
The furthest one was like 10 inches or something like that. It was like 10-1 or something like that. And I was like, God, that is horrendous for professional. Listen, we're all human. We all make mistakes. Yeah. I get it. I mean, these guys are also throwing frisbees at 95 miles an hour now.
Oh yeah, no, it's not easy.
You're gonna miss a couple.
Yep.
But a couple, not 20 in a game. That changes the outcome. So it's just it's crazy. I don't know how to fix it other than, like you said, using the ABS.
And I don't know why. I don't know why that wouldn't be a good solution for everybody. Now you can just, oh yeah, I missed it. Grab it, fixed, good. We're moving along.
Yeah.
Just cleans up the game.
Yeah, I don't think you have to get rid of umpires, because I think human umpires do control the flow of the game. You know what I mean? Like you have the human element, right? So strike's called strike, ball. You know, if there's a review, there's a quick one, boom. If you have a robot umpire and that thing malfunctions mid-game, now you got a whole bunch of crap that you're trying to deal with. That's not, you know, so I think keeping the umpires there is fine. Use that as a review and go on from there. It will keep the flow.
You still need people to maintain the flow of the game. You know, make sure timeout is called. Give, you know, a guy slides into second, be able to call time so we can stand up and get the stuff off. Like, you still need umpires in the field to do some stuff, but having this as a checkpoint in the process just adds so much credibility to the umpires. It fixes those 5 or 6 times a game where, like, there's a really important pitch that you want to make sure is right. And I think it solves these issues, but these players are finally just like, enough is enough. I'm tired of getting hosed when it matters. Fix it.
Yeah.
And they're right. I mean, this is Major League Baseball. This is not, you know, I'm not going to pick on Little League, but this is not amateur baseball.
Right.
Like get us professional umpires that can do it, that can do the job.
Yeah. And like you said, it's the umpires union that's definitely protecting these guys and keeping them employed. And this is their full-time job. We've talked about this before. It's not like NFL referees where, you know, Ed Hockley goes back and he's a lawyer full-time, but he comes and refs football on the weekends because he likes to do it.
Yeah, exactly, because it's fun.
Right. Like, these MLB umpires, this is their full-time job.
All they do.
This is what they do. This
and
is
they get paid
their
well.
profession. Yeah, absolutely they get paid well. And if you're not good at your job, it should be next man up. That's how it is in Major League Baseball. If you're hitting 067 and playing third base for the Boston Red Sox and you're not cutting it, guess what? Next man up.
Yeah. So the average salary for an MLB umpire in 2023 was $235,000.
$235,000.
And all their travel expenses are covered.
Yeah. There's really no use for it. Or no excuse for it. I mean,
so I mean, you got close to $1 million worth of salary on the field at any point in time, trying to make a call, because that's the average, which means there's guys that are higher up the food chain than that.
Right. Yeah, your crew chiefs, your probably veteran umpires, because they probably get like a quote unquote cost of living raise. You know, like it's, I don't know. They need to do something with it. Like, baseball fans might be against it to begin with, you know, to start with, I should say. But the changes that MLB has made, as skeptical as we were on some of them at the beginning of this year, really haven't changed the game at all. The pitch clock has not been an issue. We kind of figured it wouldn't once people settled into it and got used to it. It's been an issue for some pitchers' performance, but that's a different issue.
Yeah, the umpires have handled it better than the
yeah, absolutely. And I think the umpires have done a pretty good job policing it too. Like, I mean, there's been a lot of times where that clock gets to zero. It's like, bang, nope, that's a ball.
There's only been a couple of situations where I think they mishandled it, but it was more so out of confusion because, you know, there's a weird stoppage or something. Right. But it's gone well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's as much as like the hardcore baseball fans or the baseball purists were against it, the average Major League Baseball game time is down by it's like 27 minutes. I think I saw.
Yeah, it's about half an hour.
It's significant, and it has added to the baseball. Attendance is up. People are going to games. It's all working, and if you get the calls right even more and fine tune baseball, it's only going to make it better. And by fine tuning the strike zone, you're automatically going to get more offense.
Yes.
Right. And ultimately that's what baseball wants.
Yep.
That's not what pitchers want, but that's what MLB wants.
Right. And I don't expect an umpire to go out there and get 100% of the calls right. Like there's just no way. That's not what we're trying to ask for. I think it's important to say we expect mistakes to be made. The ABS just there to catch those mistakes when they are made. Because to your point, Nick, these guys are throwing 95 to 100 with crazy movement, lateral movement up and down. It's wild how far these pitches move sometimes. The ABS is nothing more than a safety net to catch the mistake because they're going to happen. Because good luck calling some of those pitches.
Yeah, like I'm sitting here saying like I could do it, but
hell no, there's no chance.
Dude, I'd blink and be like, what happened? The catcher's throwing the ball back to the pitcher's mound. But yeah, Doug makes a good point. Like, bigger question is for me is like, why don't guys like Buckner and Hernandez retire, seeing how bad their numbers are? Give the younger guys a shot. I agree.
Because it's a great gig.
But that's the thing, right? You work 6 months out of the year, you get paid $200K, and you go home and enjoy it for 6 months, and then you go back. I mean, that's a sweet ass gig. But I don't know. I think because it's unionized, these guys are never going to go away until they decide to hang it up, which is terrible.
There's no like mandatory retirement age. There's like none of that. These guys can literally be there forever if they want.
Yeah. Crazy. I don't get it.
And it's sad because some of these guys should just be gone.
Yeah. Buckner's stats the other day were absolutely. I saw that report.
He was like 90%. He was like 90% correct.
Ugh. And then Angel Hernandez, I think, was 87 or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, that is brutal. But
it's bananas.
Yeah. I mean, I'm for it at this point. We've seen it at the minor leagues, in the minor leagues level, or the independent baseball level. I don't remember exactly which league they did the ABS in, but I am all for it. Like,
I can't remember, but it makes a lot of sense. When you see the video of it, you're like, man, that's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's a 2-second process. Tap, tap, umpire turns. Yep, strike. Boom, that's it. Appeal over. Pitcher's probably not even back on the rubber at that point. So, whatever.
Yeah, it's silly, but it's the Cabrian Hayes situation is one of many we've had this year where players are just frustrated with it. I get it. MLB's got to figure something out.
Yeah, and I think Cabrian Hayes did it the right way. Like, he didn't blow up at the umpire. No. He didn't get in his face. He just asked him, held him accountable, and then went to Twitter about it. Like, he wasn't vulgar about it. He wasn't screaming at him. He just goes, that's not an appropriate answer to give me. Oh, you're giving me another shot to hit a home run? Cool. Like, that tells me you don't care about my at-bat or don't care about making the correct call. Like, that's not okay. It's not okay.
Yep. Yeah, we're trailing, trying to get runners on base. You're taking the bat out of my hand. Like, that's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I'm for it. I mean, the baseball changes that they've made now, I think, have been incredible for the game, the speed of the game, the pace of the game, the average fans coming. Like, baseball is back. It also helps that you have superstars doing superstar things, which we'll get to in a little bit later. That all helps. It's been like the perfect storm, but this would be like cherry on top. Like, let's get this correct. Because at this point, we might as well, right? I mean, we have replay for everything else. You might as well. Give the batter one appeal and at bat. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And use it wisely.
And if you get it wrong, it's a strike. I'm sure that's what it is.
Make it worthwhile.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, right, because it would be the other way, right? They wouldn't challenge a ball to be a strike, so it would have to be a strike to be a ball. So if they get it wrong, it's a strike. That's it.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I was kind of trying to maybe not say it so elegantly, but in the situation, it changes how the batter sees the zone too. If that's a strike, then what else is I have to protect against now? For sure.
Right.
Like, now, if you put the strike zone in a box, which essentially that's what the strike zone was supposed to be.
That's what it is.
Right. Then there shouldn't be any fluctuation in what it looks like, even from umpire to umpire. We all know it does. That's the human element that people are all bent out of shape about. But yeah, I don't know. I'm for it. Just because it's going to increase offense significantly, I think.
Totally, I'm with you. It makes, to me, it's a no-brainer to have that safety, that check, that safety in place where you know that a bad call at a pivotal point of the game can get fixed.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to move on to some trivia here. So without Sean, Harrison is a little solo. I know we got Doug in the comments. Somebody else is watching here too, so you can chime in if you know some of these trivia questions. I am going to preface this by these are all postseason questions, but they're not. They are postseason drought questions.
Oh boy, here we go.
So here we go. Which
the Red Sox?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
right. Which two teams currently have the longest postseason droughts?
Seattle.
Nope, they made it last year.
Oh, sorry, they made it last year. They had the longest drought until last year, right?
We make fun of this team almost like weekly.
It's got to be the Angels.
Angels is one.
Pirates?
Nope.
No, that's right. They had a run a few years ago.
Yep. Midwest
On
team.
the list. Yeah. Say Kansas City was in the World Series not that long ago.
Nope, not Cincy. Good guess.
I was thinking that too, Doug, and I'm like, no, I feel like they were in not that long ago, at least in Joey Votto's tenure.
Northern Midwest.
Milwaukee? No, Milwaukee's been in.
A little bit east.
Say you got Cleveland's been in. You've got Detroit.
Detroit, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Detroit.
Kind of forgot about them.
Right? Because I mean, when they're not significant,
it hasn't been worth talking with them in a long time.
Yeah, the Tigers and Angels are both currently at 8 years without a postseason.
And then, am I right that last year before the Mariners made it, they had the longest drought?
It's been a long time since the Mariners. So, all right, this one's kind of crazy. This one's a cool one. Which team has the least amount of postseason appearances, and how many?
So which team is the least amount?
This one's kind of a cool stat. I was like, dang.
I feel like it's going to be a West Coast team.
Nope.
It's not.
No.
Because I immediately went to Seattle and Anaheim.
Nope. The least amount of postseason appearances, and how many?
The least amount. All right, so let's go around. It's not anybody from the AL East. It's not going to be the NL East.
It is the NL East.
It's the NL East?
Yep. And that's not KC in 5. It's a good guess, Doug.
Boy.
It's
not Atlanta.
It's gonna
not Philly.
It's gonna blow your mind.
The Mets?
Nope.
The Marlins?
They
haven't been around that long.
It's the Marlins with 2. So both times they've made the playoffs, they've won the World Series.
World Series or bust.
Yep. So Marlins with 2. Crazy.
That's right, because 97 and 03, and they've never been back.
Yep. That's nuts. I was like, wait, that's pretty nuts.
That is pretty nuts.
All right. Here we go. We can start rattling off teams here now. 7 teams have 5 or less postseason appearances in their history. Who are they?
Well, we know the Marlins are one.
Yep, Marlins are one.
So let's go Marlins. Let's go Rockies.
Yep.
Diamondbacks?
Nope.
Really? Okay.
They have 6. They're close. So 5 or less.
Seattle?
Seattle. Nope.
The Angels?
Nope. Angels are no. Angels have 10.
Oh, because you got to go back to the California Angels days too.
Yep. So you got Marlins, Rockies, Mariners.
Nationals.
Yep.
No, Nationals/Expos.
Yep. Nationals.
So that's 4, right?
Yeah, you got 4.
White Sox?
Nope.
No, because they go way back.
White Sox only have 9.
Oh, really? In like
Isn't
100
that crazy?
over
They only
100
have
years?
9 postseason appearances.
That's pitiful.
Yep.
Tampa.
Tampa, yep, it's 5. You're missing 2. One of them we thought was going to be a playoff team this year, and definitely
Pittsburgh.
No. I mean, definitely not. And they should have been the best team in the West.
Oh. San Diego.
Yep. Padres. And then one more. They're actually leading a division right now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Twins had their days.
You're in the right spot, wrong league.
Milwaukee?
Yep, Milwaukee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that because Milwaukee they only had a couple of stretches where they were really good.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. Padres, Nationals, Rockies, Brewers, Mariners, Rays, and Marlins have 5 or less postseason appearances in their franchise history.
Yeah, and 4 of those are expansion teams, right?
Right.
So it's like they should be on that list.
13 teams, I think it was 13, have 10 or less.
Wow.
White Sox, Royals, and Mets have 9. Rangers have 8. Blue Jays have 7. Diamondbacks have 6. Padres, Nationals 5. Rockies, Brewers, Mariners, Rays with 4, and the Marlins with 2. It's crazy.
It blows my mind to think that means that 17 teams have basically had all the postseason appearances.
Yeah, it's
and really you look at that list, it's probably like 6 teams that have like all the postseason appearances.
Right. Well, yeah, the Yankees are up at like 58.
Right, it's not even close.
Dodgers are second, I think, with like 28 or something. It's
Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox, Cubs, like all the long timers. But
it's crazy.
Holy cow!
All right. So this one, I want you to kind of like think about the curses, like the 2 long curses. So I'm going to narrow it down that way for you.
Okay.
And see if you can come up with this player. According to Baseball Reference, name the player with the most games played with no postseason appearance.
Most games played with no postseason appearance.
And I'll give you the number of games played without a postseason appearance. 2,528. And this is a well-known player.
What?
Yeah. Without a postseason appearance. Like I said, think about the droughts, like the World Series droughts, and that might narrow it down a little bit. A very well-known player. Nope, not Ted Williams.
I say my mind immediately went to Ted Williams. Ernie Banks.
It is. It's Ernie Banks.
Okay. 19
seasons, 2,528 games played from 1953 to 1971. Never saw a postseason appearance.
That is so sad.
514 career home runs, and the dude never saw a postseason game.
Like, think about that for a minute, though. Ernie Banks never played in the postseason.
Mr. Cub.
Never played there.
Never saw the playoffs.
How? Like, how do you never make the playoffs once in his whole career?
Absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Holy cow.
Isn't that nuts? I was like, wow. So that's what
I mean, you tip your hat to a guy like Ernie Banks that, I mean, granted, I know free agency wasn't necessarily a thing.
Right.
But man, to go out there every day and
dude gets
never have a shot.
Dude gets up, goes 2 for 4, hits 2 balls on Wayland Avenue, goes back to the dugout and be like, man, you guys suck.
And we're going to miss the playoffs again.
Like, God, man, that's so frustrating. But all right.
That's such a sad stat, Nick.
Is right. Absolutely crazy. Stat. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool to do playoff drought.
That's amazing
trivia. That was a nice little rabbit hole I went down, so it was pretty cool. But
yeah, there's so many cool rabbit holes you can go down for trivia. Yeah. Just make sure you ask the question the right way.
Yeah, right. Or don't. That's what gives us the most views.
Yeah, exactly. Or don't. That helps.
I mean, that thing is still going. It's been a month. It's been a month and a half, I think, at this point. And we're still getting comments like, "Oh, these guys are idiots." Blah blah blah. It's like, well,
I love it. Do your research.
Yeah, It's awesome. All right. We have 2 rounding third questions that I put out here this week. I'm about to pull them up here. The first one was, who are the front runners for American League and National League MVP? Rookie of the Year. Sorry. Who do you think who are your front runners, Harrison?
I started the year off saying it was Corbin Carroll and Gunnar Henderson. I still think it is. I still feel like those guys are the front runners.
Yeah.
We've had some interesting seasons though. I feel like, like Gunnar Henderson got off to a really slow start and then he really turned it on. You have a guy like Casas that actually has been red hot of late, who's going to get more consideration than he probably would have a month ago.
Yeah.
But I still feel like Carroll and Gunnar Henderson are the top tier of this class.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at what Corbin Carroll's doing is insane. And that's true of Henderson too. I mean, the guy's got 22 or 23 home runs now. He's played really good defense. And when he really figured it out, that team took off.
Yeah. Corbin Carroll's hitting 284, 24 homers, 47 stolen bags. 47 stolen bags. Almost 25 home runs, hitting, 285.
And plays really good defense.
His WAR is 5.2. I mean, he's there for sure. Gunnar Henderson's numbers 254, but he's 24 homers, 74 RBIs, only 9 stolen bases, but he's got a 5.1 WAR. So I mean, I think he's the favorite. Casas is sitting at a 2 WAR, 263. He's got 24 home runs, 64 RBIs, but no stolen bags. I don't know. I mean, it depends on how much, weight they put into the wins above replacement, I think. But they have pretty identical
You could make
numbers.
a case.
I mean,
you could make a case, and it was sad that like Josh Young went down.
Yeah.
Because he was really making a case too for himself. And obviously the missed time is going to hurt. But I do think
Josh Young was
going to be hard.
Yeah, Josh Young was head and shoulder, 22 home runs, 67 RBIs, and that was before he went on the shelf 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, he was right there neck and neck with Gunnar Henderson in the lead, and then Casas came up behind.
His last game was August 6th, so he had 20
He's been up for a month.
Yeah, 22 home runs, and it was Josh Young's for sure, but.
Doug, Casas is freaking NFL linebackers. I wouldn't expect steals from him.
I mean,
he's a big boy.
Yeah,
he is a big boy. But even he's come on really strong, and it was a runaway. It seemed like for Henderson for a while. Then Josh Young really came on aggressively, and then Young got hurt, and then Casas came on. But I still think Henderson wins it, but it's going to be a lot closer than it looked like it was going to be. And in the NL, I don't know how it's anybody but Corbin and Carroll that wins it.
So you have.
Because I will say, Nick, you jinxed our boy Ellie hard.
Oh, absolutely.
You way overhyped him on our top 100 list. The dude's hitting $133 with like a 40% strikeout rate over the last month and a half. You've ruined him. You ruined Ellie
single-handedly.
So through 83 games, he's got 126 Ks. That would put him on an almost 250 K trend for a year. It's bad. It's bad.
God. My bad, Ellie. Anyways.
You ruined him.
So right now, Vegas odds to win, or the FanDuel odds, I should say, to win Rookie of the Year, second place, Kodai Senga. But
okay, yeah,
the Mets stink. But I mean, the odds aren't close. He's like plus 1,700. So it's Corbin Carroll's.
He's probably the right second place person, but it's still not close.
And then it shoots up to plus 15,000 for Spencer Steer and James Outman. So they're on the outside looking at, and then Matt McClain's also on that list.
You could put the entire Cincinnati Reds starting lineup on that list.
Like legit. Like
basically.
Like not even kidding.
No.
And then the odds for AL is Gunnar Henderson in the lead. Casas is plus 800, so he's gaining a little bit of ground.
Not way off, but he's
nope. And then Tanner Bibby. I don't know how to say his name.
I never get his name right.
Looks like
in
Bibby
Cleveland.
to me. Yep. And then Yoshida is plus 3,000.
Yoshida's had a good
Young's
season.
still on. Yeah, for sure. And then Josh Young's on the list behind Yoshida, but fading because he's been out. So
and I thought I saw that there's a chance they might see him here next couple weeks before the playoffs start, assuming the Rangers are going to make the playoffs, because right now it doesn't look like they will.
Yeah, right now. Let's take a quick look at those standings. We didn't mention it earlier. So Baltimore, Houston, Minnesota are your division leaders in the AL East.
Don't look now. Houston's got like a 3-game lead. They have come roaring back as they always do.
So Tampa Bay is 8.5 up in the wild card. They're not. That spot's pretty much cemented.
So at this point, you can say Baltimore, Minnesota, Houston, and Tampa are in the playoffs.
It is a 3-team race for the last 2 spots. Toronto is a game up and in second place in the wild card. Seattle is third, barely hanging on to a half-game lead in front of Texas. So Texas is just on the outside at a half game. And I'm surprised they're only a half game out, because they scuffled there pretty hard for the last week and a half.
Texas has lost 7 of their last 10. So Seattle. I mean, those teams, Seattle was red hot. They've lost 3 in a row, 7 of their last 10. They've come right back to earth.
That was the chance. If the Sox wanted to make a run, the Sox right there had to go 7-3.
Yep.
And they didn't. They went 4-6.
Yep. And the Red Sox they've got what's left on the schedule is not an easy schedule.
No.
They've got to make up some ground. They've got, the Yankees here for 4, then they're out on the road. They got the Rangers, they got the Rays, they got the Orioles, they've got some stout teams coming to town.
Yeah. But it's just crazy. So division leaders in the NL, obviously Atlanta clenched already, which
it's stupid.
They're 94-49.
Dodgers plus 240, Nick.
It's silly.
Tell me who beats them in a 5 or 7 game series.
No one. I think this is Atlanta. If Atlanta loses, if they get anything but a World Series, it's a failed season for the Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
That's where I am at them.
Agreed.
They are so deep, are so good, that if they don't win a World Series, it's a bad year. It's a failed year.
Yep.
Dodgers and Milwaukee are in the lead there. Philly's starting to fade back a little bit from this top spot. So this could be an interesting race down the wire here. So separated by 5 games are 6 teams to get in these 3 wild card spots. Philly's up by 3.5. Cubs are up by 2. Arizona is even. And then Miami is a half game back. And then the Giants and the Reds are a game and a half back. So we had mentioned last week, we went over their schedules to see what they looked like. And we felt that Arizona and Cincinnati had the easiest schedule going out.
They do.
The Marlins had a massive gauntlet to run through, which a couple things. They beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3.
And they had Soler go to the IL. And I think if the Marlins stumble to the finish line here and get into the playoffs, they're going to be exhausted, because this is such a tough stretch for them that it's going to be tough for them to keep that momentum, I think, personally. Yeah. So the Marlins 5 days ago put Sandy Alcantara and Jorge Soler on the IL, and then they went off and beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3.
Yep.
It makes no sense. We saw those injuries and we're like,
Baseball.
wow, that's going to make this even harder for them. They're done. Then they go take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. And you're like, oh, maybe not.
Yep. Baseball. Crazy.
It makes no sense sometimes, man.
Absolutely.
And then in the meantime, you got, speaking of the Braves, you got Matt Olson hit 2 home runs tonight. He's now got 50. A guy's going to get no MVP votes because his teammate's going to take them all.
That's a great segue, Harrison. This was my second question that I kind of threw out today because I saw these stats and I go, holy Hannah.
Yep.
So Ronald Acuna right now in 2023, he hasn't achieved all of these yet, but these are numbers that Ronald Acuna could achieve by the end of the season. 40 home runs, 70 stolen bases, 200 hits, 100 RBIs, 30 doubles, 140 runs, 350 total bases, a 330 batting average, a 1,000 OPS, and an 8 WAR. These are numbers never achieved by any player in MLB history.
Yep.
Like altogether. So this was my question. If Acuna does achieve everything on this list this season, would this be considered the best season ever by any baseball player in history? And if not, who?
I mean, I think the short answer is he's having one of the best seasons in baseball history. Yes. It's likely not the best season in baseball history because of the season that Shohei Ohtani's having, where he's also had the pitching stats on top of it.
Right.
But I think for a, forget about Shohei Ohtani being on both sides of the ball. For a hitter, this will go down as one of the top few seasons in baseball history because he literally has done everything that you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, he won't win a Triple Crown, but he's done everything but.
Yeah. I mean, I think this was, I think I answered somebody commented, Sarah said he's not far ahead in one category, but is ahead in so many. So yes, he's the MVP. And she said, I'm also biased because she's a huge Braves fan.
Wicked Braves fan.
But I vote best ever season. Do recognize that the new rules make stolen bases easier and probably could account for other records. I said, I agree. He's got to be the MVP. I think as such a good season as Mookie's having, this has got to be Acuna's. He went into LA and absolutely showed Mookie Betts he was the MVP of that series. Absolutely,
yes,
that's what he did.
He did. He absolutely showed up. Everybody.
I said I could make an argument that if he achieves this entire list, this could be the best statistical season by anybody ever. Like, yes, you have Shohei Ohtani. Yes, you have, your Babe Ruth, your Aaron Judges, or even Miguel Cabrera has won the Triple Crown, but like he just led in home runs, average in, RBIs that season. He probably led in doubles and stuff too. But I mean, the amount of things that Ronald Acuna is ahead of or in the lead of is just unreal.
Yeah, and think about that for a second. He's leading categories that don't normally go together. How many guys lead the league in batting average, OPS, and stolen bases? How many guys lead the league in doubles and stolen bases? Like, what he's doing, there's very few players back in baseball history you can look back to. Maybe Ricky Henderson's the only one.
I don't think he's leading in doubles because I feel like Freddie Freeman's got about 65.
Yeah, no, you're right. Probably does. But
he's 54.
Jesus, it's a mismatch of categories. Like, this is a guy that's doing everything on the field. Like, he's hitting for average, he's getting on base, he's hitting for power, he's stealing bases. Like, he is doing everything. There's no other player that is doing as many things for a single team as Ronald Acuna Jr. does.
Yeah. He gets on first base and it's a run.
Well, it's like the other night he stole, or not the other, I said, this is going back a couple weeks now. He stole his 60th base. It was on a pickoff attempt. He just ran and took second on a pickoff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they can't even pick the guy off. He just runs and takes the base, like wearing his 72 pounds of jewelry around his neck. But and that's the funny thing with him is that you're not seeing like all the stats that go together. He is like across the board, got everything covered.
Yeah. I mean,
and he plays some good defense too, usually.
Got an absolute cannon.
He's got an absolute hose.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna double down and say this is probably the best statistical season I've ever seen personally. Like, just the amount of stats this guy's putting up. He is, like, basketball terms, stuffing the stat sheet.
Yep.
It's rebounds, it's assists, it's points, it's the intangibles, it's everything with him. He is leading in every category.
I cannot remember a more dominant season that I've ever seen from a guy that literally has just done everything.
Yeah. Now, the part of being most valuable is a different discussion.
Yeah.
Because you take Ronald Acuna off that team, are the Braves still the Braves?
They're still good.
Yeah, they're still good. I mean, obviously the Braves are exponentially better with Ronald Acuna, but that lineup is so deep. You're not
Yeah,
getting anybody out.
they're still winning that division. They're still a World Series favorite.
Heavily. Yeah.
I mean, you could put one of us in right field, and they're still a World Series favorite.
I don't know about me, but maybe back in the day. But yeah, I mean, so I don't know if I would say, like, it depends on how you view valuable. Is he having an MVP season? Hell freaking yeah, this guy is. But is he the most valuable member on his team? I mean, sure, you could argue he is, but you could also argue Matt Olson just hit number 50 tonight.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think what makes Acuna different is that he's doing so many things. So, like, if you took him away, it probably hurts the Braves more than if you take Austin Riley or Matt Olson away.
Agree.
Because, Matt Olson's home runs are solo shots if he's not on base. Right. Is Matt Olson getting a fastball down the middle because Acuna's out there dancing? Or because he's stolen second and they're worried about, like, it's the way Acuna changes the approach, changes the game. I think you could make the argument that he's the most valuable player on that team and across the league, because what he does opens up so many opportunities for guys like Riley and Olson to get better pitches and be put in different situations.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know if you, like, wake up in the morning. I mean, you probably don't even sleep if you're pitching against these guys the night before.
No,
like, you got to just be like, how the hell am I getting these guys out today?
There's like no hole in that lineup.
You're probably better off just throwing fastballs down the middle and just praying and hoping for the best, hoping they just pop everything off.
You get up in the morning, oh, look, Sean Murphy's getting the day off. Oh, crap, Darno's going to play.
Yeah.
Okay, well, even the backup catcher is scary.
My God, man.
I mean, as a pitcher,
crazy.
I don't know what you do. I don't know how you prepare for that lineup. You better just strap on your chin strap and go get your humble pie.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, but I'm glad I don't have to do it.
Am I seeing correctly that Aaron Rodgers limped off the field in the first drive?
Did he really?
That's the most Jets thing ever. I'm just sorry, not to sidetrack it, but
no, it's quite okay.
Oh God,
man, whatever. The Jets are going to win the division anyways, right? They got Rodgers and Dalvin Cook and all these good receivers. Their defense is good.
Yeah, nope.
All right,
but and I will say, going back to stolen bases, what was this? A couple nights ago, Bryson Stott stole a base against the Marlins. And that was the 3,000th stolen base of the season, which is the first time MLB's done that since 2012.
Dang.
So the league has stolen over 3,000 bases this year for the first time in 11 years. Obviously, a lot of that has to do with the pitch clock. That's changed the way that the running game works. But it's also created some excitement around keeping the game moving.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, did the pitch clock really change the running game, or is it more of like a mental thing?
No,
like
totally.
Are like,
so think of it this way, Nick. The pitcher has to get rid of the ball at a certain point. So he can stand there and stare at you and stare at you and stare at you, but before that thing goes to zero, he's going. So like and you can use that clock to figure out when he's got to deliver the pitch.
Well, but also the pitchers the pitcher shouldn't be releasing it at the same time every.
Well, no, but if you mix it up, there's still a limit to where you can go. But also, you can only separate from the mound twice.
Right.
So you can only make 2 pickoff throws. Once you make those throws, you can't throw again. I mean, Acuna can lead halfway to second base. You can't step off to throw
unless you pick him off.
And no, I mean, in theory, you can't get back off the mound or it's a ball. So
no, you can step off a third time, but you have to get him out.
Right. That's right. You have to get him out the third time.
Yeah.
But in theory, the pitchers now have to deliver the ball in a certain window of time and can only disengage so many times. So if you're a guy like Acuna, you know when he's got to throw. And you also know that if he comes over twice, he ain't coming again because he's not sure he's going to get you. So you can get a little extra half step. And I definitely think it's changed. It's opened up the running game, but it's not like it's opened up the running game so much they're setting like these crazy records. They're just getting back to the way it used to be.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's fair.
So has it affected the running game? Absolutely. Has it changed it in a way that makes it unfair? Well, no, because they're just now getting back to where they used to be 10 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Because for a while there was like no stolen bases anywhere in baseball.
Yeah, because that was the whole mentality. It's like, why run into a potential out when everyone's just swinging for the fences all the time? And it can be a 2-run bomb instead of getting thrown out at second
Right.
and then hitting a solo shot. So,
And that was a big reason the game was slowed down, is you'd have pitchers that would stand there forever, or they'd throw over 7 times.
It's fair. Yeah. All right. A couple things before we head out here. Giancarlo Stanton hits home run number 400 of his career.
And was injured doing it. Oh, wait, no, sorry.
Well, we'll get to the other injured Yankee, which is a big one. But, I mean, Stanton, one of the best power hitters in our lifetime for sure. Like, this guy just hits absolute nukes.
When healthy, the guy can hit.
Yeah.
I mean, the last year or two with the Yankees, when he's been healthy, he's been pretty mediocre, but he hasn't really ever been fully healthy.
I mean, playoff Stanton the last couple years has been the only reason the Yankees have been in games. But 400 career home runs for Stanton.
Yeah,
so
big achievement.
Another milestone. Jason Dominguez, the Martian, has a torn UCL. So Tommy John. Well, I haven't heard reports that he's getting Tommy John. The only report I saw was a torn UCL. So they call up their prospect. Dude hits 2 home runs in his first 3 games and now has a torn UCL.
And this is a position player. Like, I don't get it. I don't know
what's going on with this Yankees training staff.
There's something wrong.
Something's going on.
You call the dude up and he gets hurt.
Or strength and conditioning coach or something. Something is
something's not working. Something's not working because you got guys getting hurt with injuries that they really just shouldn't have.
Yeah.
I mean, Dominguez is not throwing the ball that much to tear a UCL.
Yeah, you wouldn't think. I mean, it's not like he's out on the mound or even in the infield. He's playing the outfield.
Right. I mean, Bryce Harper injured it, but this was a guy that's been in the league for a lot of freaking years.
Yeah, agree. The last thing I just saw this before we came on. This is absolutely mind blowing to me. This is so cool. This is one of my favorite baseball movies. The mom from Little Big League, Ashley Crow, is the actual mom of the Cubs' #1 prospect, Pete Crow Armstrong. So now that the Cubs are reportedly calling Pete up, she's officially the mother of an MLB player nearly 30 years after the movie's been released. My mind just went.
Yeah, you said that. I was like, wow, that's wild.
So crazy. So she played the mom in Little Big League, and her son is actually going to the show as the Cubs' #1 prospect. I thought that was really cool.
And he's good.
Yeah. That's good. Is he a pitcher, position player? I don't know what position he plays.
I can't remember. Let me look it up real quick. I'm pretty sure he's I want to say he's an outfielder or something.
But yeah, that was nuts. I was like, you got to be kidding me. That was really cool.
Yeah, he plays all 3 outfield positions.
Okay, so nice. But yeah, I was like, no way. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's wild. It's wild to think that you played it and now you actually are it.
Yeah.
It does beg the question, though. Here we are getting into. Oh, and by the way, your boy Josh Donaldson got called up to the Milwaukee Brewers.
I did see that too, but didn't really think it was newsworthy.
No, well, it's not because it won't last. But you're at the point now where I wonder if we're going to see some of the teams start to call up younger players, just to get some variety on the roster and give some other kids a look.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
So when you look at stolen bases across the league, your top 5 teams for stolen bases, this I found surprising. Leading Major League Baseball in stolen bases is the Reds with 167. The Rays are second at 153. The Diamondbacks are third at 146. The Kansas City Royals are fourth with 138. The Oakland Athletics are fifth with 133.
Damn. The Oakland Athletics are fifth.
Yep.
That's probably Estuary Ruiz by himself.
He's like half of it. But yeah, I was looking at this going, wow. And our San Diego Padres just continue to defy logic and suck.
Yeah.
But interesting stat, Nick. You and I were talking before we went on. The Padres are 67 and 77. Their expected win-loss is 78 and 66. It's an 11-game swing between where they're at and where they should be based on stats, which tells me that they're winning big and losing ugly. They're losing the close games, they're losing them late, but 11-game swing. And they are 28 and 41 on the road. Horrendous away from Petco.
Yeah. It's the season the Padres are having is one to forget. That is for sure.
Yeah, 8 games back in the wild card, eliminated from the division already. 21 games behind the Dodgers. The Dodgers still own them. This is the year that was supposed to change.
Yeah. I mean, it is weird. Their run differential kind of stands out to me, but it's because they lose the close games.
Yep.
But they blow out their wins. Like it's weird.
Well, you got San Diego is 67 and 77 with a plus 61. The Marlins are 74 and 69 with a minus 46.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Marlins are the reverse story. They're 74 and 69. They should be 67 and 76.
Right. When the Marlins get beat, they get beat.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 7-game swing the other direction for them.
Yeah. Absolutely nuts.
So it's wild, but
yeah. Do you have anything else before I make the last announcement?
No, that's it.
All right. So pretty cool guest we have coming on next week. It won't be on Monday, and we'll talk to him about it why. But next week we're going to have Anthony Delfonso on Tuesday. Anthony Delfonso is the owner of Triple Crown Baseball and Softball Academy now. He is a crazy baseball talent to come out of Maine. He is in the Hall of Fame at SMCC, Hall of Fame at USM, went on to the Mexican League, won a Triple Crown there, I believe. Just absolute incredible baseball talent to come out of Maine. I had the honor of playing with him one fall at SMCC. Great guy. What he's doing for the Maine community for baseball and softball is incredible. So we're going to have him on, talk some baseball, talk about his career, and can't wait for that. It'll be really great to talk some baseball with him and really catch up. And I was talking to him back and forth about the talent starting to come out of Maine, and Maine baseball is starting to get recognized, which is great because Harrison and I have talked about numerous times, when we were, going up through the ranks, New England's just kind of meh, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, no one really comes up there. It's too cold. We don't play along,
yep.
The talent, but the talent's getting there, and people like Anthony is why, the talent's increasing. So really cool. Can't wait to have him on. I don't know if we'll be live next week, but it might be a tape. And then we'll send it out at some point during the week. So keep your eyes out for that. We will advertise it. But really excited for Anthony to be on next week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll be putting out posts this week. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, I played fall league softball with him a couple years ago. I've never seen a softball travel so far in my whole life.
Dude, it's nuts, man. He straight up mashes.
Yeah, I put a couple links in the chat to his bio when he was at SMCC and USM. Some pretty amazing stats and recognition he got while he was there.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. So it will be great. So I don't know if we'll be on next Monday. We might just do the Tuesday show and release it on Tuesday. Just keep your eye out for the Facebook page there. But either way, thanks for listening, chiming in. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, share our podcast, share our reels, like our reels, comment on our reels. Give us, do it. Just do it. It gets us views.
It feels so good.
We're still getting followers here, so it's awesome. We're getting more visible. It's great. So thanks to the people that listen every week and chime in. It really means a lot. So thanks for watching. And like I said, keep your eye out for the time we'll be out next week. Not sure if it will be Monday. or later on in the week. But just keep your eyes peeled, and we will keep you updated. And either way, we'll see you next week.